Hey, what's up, everybody? Checking in for another court chat. Today, just kind of wanted to talk about, relationships, my viewpoint on the point of relationships, and then probably touch on self-sabotage a little bit as well. Relationships are a beautiful experience, sharing that connection, whether it be with a family, a bromance. I don't know if there's a qualifying terminology for that between women, I guess just girlfriends, and then, having intimate partners as well. Sharing those connections throughout your life add a different layer of meaning to it, because chances are in situations you'll be able to lean on each other and value each other in ways that will be difficult to reciprocate outside of that particular connection. That's my viewpoint on relationships. They help shield you a lot. They're wonderful, beautiful things if you can get them to work properly. Again, the caveat for that is that most of us aren't taught what a healthy relationship looks like, even in and of ourselves, let alone how to modify or adapt it with the changing environment that we continuously find ourselves in. Again, just from when I was a kid till now, one of the questions that I would ask people sometimes is, if you'd rather live without the internet or rather live without AC and heat. I'll go without the internet because I remember a time way before that, and it was honestly better. I played outside all the time. I didn't have to worry about, maintaining long distance social connections. And then really all my connections at that time were a lot more beneficial. You know what I'm saying? It was actually based within a community. Everything was local. I could walk to kind of wherever I would need to be. That's why I appreciate kind of being in a small town right now. Whereas moving past that, one of the first things that I remember from the internet, and this is weird even still to this day, one of the first things, so AOL was the launch of the internet for us common folk, I guess. And then they had the chat room, the instant messenger room, and one of the first questions you would ask somebody is ASL, which stood for age, sex, location. So you knew kind of who you were talking to and that you weren't speaking to somebody that you shouldn't be. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what launched all these internet dating apps from what they are now. From people that are old enough to remember that, again, there would be kids in there. I was one of those kids, that, and it's just weird looking back on that now because it was such a new foreign concept. You know what I'm saying? Again, age, sex, location was the first thing that people were concerned about when talking to strangers on the internet. And it's still that same similarity now. So building connections now are relatively easy because we have access to everybody at any point in the time of day, no matter where we are. You can be halfway around the world, I can still text or email you, and I should be able to solicit a response immediately. There's no reason for people to miss each other because, again, that connection is always there. I do think that a lot of that's been diluted, for even people that grow up with childhood friends. I didn't grow up with childhood friends. I moved around a lot. So and I've seen people, they maintain them, but I've seen, people also discard them for weird reasons. Again, growing up with a single mother, a lot of that was just steeped in adversity and, quote unquote, doing the best we could. So I understand the difficulties that people come with. Like, again, for business or personal wise, relationships I'm entering into, I account for, I guess let's call it the minimum level of, I guess, negativity that I will accept. For the longest time, I work backwards, not from the least positive, but from the smallest negative, and work backwards. You know what I'm saying? If I can keep it spilling past that smallest negative and allow for people to have room to not be perfect, not calling you, don't need you, giving you room to be kind of a POS, but not be a complete POS. Do you understand? Like, you have to allow people room to be a human being. Human beings make mistakes. All of my relationships, business, personal, otherwise, are entered into the same fundamental. And it's weird that, people want to run from red flags. Like, the first thing negative you present about yourself is when I dip out. And that's crazy to me. Because it's like, just by nature of being a human being, if you're not producing any questionable signals, that should be the biggest questionable signal there is. Do you understand? Because, again, just due to the nature of being a human being, we're not perfect. You have to allow room for disagreements. You have to allow room for mistakes. You have to allow room for some outlandish shit to happen. You know what I'm saying? Again, you definitely get to set your boundaries and know what you will and won't accept. But to expect people not to have any level of mess up is kind of a poor choice on your end. So let's get into that aspect of self-sabotage, where, again, and this is where that flag of that human being might come into play. Look at me. Self-sabotage is real, and some people don't even understand how they're engaging in it with themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because success is scary for people. Like I was telling you about my time when I spent locked up. Like, I would watch people get to their STD, right? Their short time disease. So you're doing you got maybe 60 to 30 days left. And this is when the thought of being free and having another set of responsibilities creeps into your mind, and you try and do some dumb shit that's gonna get you violated and your sentence extended because you're scared to reach success and be outside, left up to your own recognizance, for a lack of a better term. It can happen if you're on probation, the same thing. It can happen if you're at work and something personal goes on in your life. This job might be the one saving grace that you have. So when I went through my situation, I got a job, and I was going through my court situation. I let my manager know what was happening. The man was gracious enough to allow me the comfort and peace of mind. He looked at me, he said, "Jeff, I appreciate you letting me know this. Go handle your business. Just let me know what's gonna happen. When you come back, I'll make sure that you have a job." The man saved a job for me for that whole time period. And no bullshit, first day out, show back up at the place, hires me on the spot. Puts me back on payroll on the spot. I got lucky through that, but again, because I'm willing to plan ahead, luck favors the prepared, man. You know what I'm saying? Preparing, even having a plan, some people don't do that. I want to be, I'm a free spirit, I'm gonna fly by the seat of my pants. That's great, but that's also self-sabotage, because you don't really know where you're headed. Man, I'm just gonna move straight. Well, what if you run into something that you can't go through? Moving forward allows you to maneuver. Going straight doesn't account for having to make evasive maneuvers. Moving forward, because I might need to turn left or turn right, and then I can keep moving forward. Do you understand the difference? Not going straight, moving forward. having a plan for yourself, at bare minimum, again, the most basic plan is to move forward. Focus on the things that you can control. Don't let things that you can't overwhelm you. Again, self-sabotage. So in relationships, if things are going well, because of all the convenience of everything that we have in our world, man, it's for some people they're easy to please and be complacent. And then it's like I was telling y'all about with my work wife. If you're easily happy, and then it's gonna take me a lot to even get to that state. Hey, I don't know, but some people might get jealous about that. You know what I'm saying? So it's self-sabotage, because it might not be the relationship that's the problem. It might be them, but I don't want to acknowledge something negative in and of myself so I can project that onto you. Self-sabotage. You know what I'm saying? Going to work to get a job. Hiring people at work, being a manager at work is it was an eye-opening experience for where I live at. People would do the strangest things. How do you get the hiring application, you make it all the way into the job, but you walk out on your first date? What is that? What in your mind is why would you even put in all the effort that you did just to quit at the start of the job? You know what I'm saying? I've seen people quit before they even got their first paycheck, and then they never come back to get their paycheck. Do you understand? It's weird. Self-sabotage is weird. I've dealt with addiction and habits before. I've also decided that I didn't want to deal with those addictions and habits before. Do you know what I'm saying? Whatever you need to do to get help, if you need to lend yourself over to a higher power, if you need to go to rehab, do what you need to do, but make a decision that you want to change whatever your situation is. Don't just put control off into something else and be like, well, I can't trust that because they obviously did it wrong. No, did you play a hand in it? Did you contribute anything at all that might, have lended to your relapse? Again, the self-sabotaging aspect is weird. Okay, so through trading right now, I'm learning about day trading. I'm having wins and I'm experiencing losses. The big thing that is the silver lining, you know what I'm saying, is that I'm learning to not react emotionally about the losses. You know what I'm saying? And then, I try not to inflate my head over wins, but I'm making some decent wins, and I'm learning how to offset my losses. You know what I'm saying? The sabotaging part is to take that loss and stop. Be like, I'm done. No, I'll put more money back into it and I'll figure it out. You know what I'm saying? I'll find another ticker that's moving and, look for good entry and exit points. Because I want to learn, I want to grow, I want to develop. Again, I'm a student of life. I'm here to learn, I'm here to progress. I have shouldered my own burden. I have carried burdens that do not belong to me. I want to share my experience and encourage others that want to progress and grow to do the same. You know what I'm saying? I was out at this bar with these gentlemen. I think it's James, Raymond, and Zach, and this weird dude ended up coming over to our situation, and he was trying to press me, and give me flack for some reason. We had been cool earlier, but something in the situation turned. Thankfully, I've had, experience dealing with this situation, so I armed myself with the empty glass next to me. I stood my ground. He told me to leave. I said, I'm not going nowhere, player. You know what I'm saying? And he actually ended up leaving because I'm not backing down to some stranger. I don't care how crazy you're talking to me. Talk is cheap, but if you ready, I was born ready. You feel me? I'm here to get it how you're gonna give it, And shout out to those guys again, James, Raymond, and Zach. You know, they said they had a brother's back, so that was a good experience too. But anyway, like, life is going to introduce things into your world that you maybe aren't prepared for, or you might be. It's how you choose to address it that's gonna have the impact and outcome, you know? Because I could have left. I could have let him tell me whatever and left. That probably wouldn't have stopped me from being in a poor position though, because now they think that they can run me. You know what I'm saying? Self-sabotage is weird. You don't know it. You know? So like, you want to be able to advocate for yourself. You want to be able to stand on who you are, have an understanding for who you are, and stand on who you are, you know? And give yourself room to grow. Don't be the one to defeat yourself. I would say it's better to fail at life than to be a failure of yourself. You know what I'm saying? Don't let anybody, don't stop yourself. You know what I'm saying? Really don't let anybody stop you. Because if you keep going, like, you never know what you're really gonna reach to. But like, you have to have that mindset to go through it, to dig in, to keep learning, to take these losses, to handle these L's. Be ready to take an L. You know what I'm saying? Don't be scared of taking an L, because you might have won. If you would have moved that last piece to that last place, you might have won. Don't quit before you get there. It's the biggest thing. So yeah, man, relationships can be super beneficial, you know, but you'd have to stand on really wanting that relationship and then communicate your way through it. Otherwise, you could end up ruining a really good thing for yourself. On that note, wages out.